Hello and welcome to my goth garden. So for today's video, I'm going to be featuring some of the darkest, vampiest, moodiest plants that I have in my collection. Now, I love dark foliage so much. It's one of my favorite characteristics of a houseplant. I love dark foliage and I love silver foliage, my two favorites. So I have several really dark, beautiful plants to share with you today. And I tried to pick ones that are truly like dark. I do have some honorable mentions that are, you know, just a super deep green, which can look like almost black, but a lot of the other ones that I have to show almost have like a cool tone to them, like almost like a purpley undertone, which I find is a characteristic of dark plants that really gives them that like almost black look. I will also say some of my dark plants are kind of in recovery or like growing back from propagation right now, so they're not looking their darkest. With a lot of these plants, they will be their deepest, darkest selves when they are in good health. So often when I'm growing back from cuttings or they're recovering from something, they can look a little pale or a little more on the green side. So yeah, I think I will maybe include those in the honorable mentions because they can look super dark and I've seen them look super dark in my collection before, but they're not quite as dark as the ones that I've officially picked out to show you. But yeah, I'm really excited about this video because like I said, I just love dark plants so much. I feel like they just, I don't know, they just have an energy about them that I really love. I'm always on the hunt to add a new goth plant to my collection, so if you have any suggestions, leave them down below in the comments and we can all look through them. Something that I've talked about wanting to get more into this year is orchids, and there are a couple of orchids that have super dark, like almost black flowers that are on my wish list that I would love to get. Maybe this year, we'll see. But yeah, I think that black flowers are just phenomenal, so that's something else that's out there that I don't have in my collection, but hopefully I will one day. Looks like there's a big owl out there or something. That's crazy. What is that? I've literally got to look with my binoculars. It's a massive bird. There's literally an owl outside at like 3 p.m. It feels very on theme somehow. Okay, so we're gonna start with truly one of the darkest plants in my collection and also one of the more unique plants that I have as well, so that's kind of fun. So this crazy beast right here is my solanum uleanum. Now, some people grow them trellised. Mine is just kind of trailing crazily. I don't know, maybe I will have to trellis this because it is just like, it's a pretty funky grower. But this thing is so incredibly dark. Let me show you a close-up of the leaves. And not only dark, but like fuzzy and velvety. It looks so stunning in the sun. Look at that. It's like literally black. It doesn't get much darker than that. And this is one of the plants that has a super purple, well, the backs are really purple, but it just, the whole plant has this purple undertone to it, which just makes it look really, gothic, I guess. Like, how many times am I gonna say that word? I don't know, but that is what it looks like. Like, it just has a super dark, moody vibe to it. When the sun hits this, it just like glows purple. It is so pretty. It's also grown super fast for me. I got this as a rooted cutting from my friend Brandon at philodendron, if you've seen his channel. Or he has a Planty Instagram as well. So this is from his plant, which is really cool, but I love it. I think that this is such a unique plant, super easygoing for me so far. It's constantly growing, it has lots of different vines, and it just adds not only texture, I mean, it's just a very different plant, especially in comparison to the other types of plants I have, I guess. Like, it just really stands out on the plant shelf, not only in color, but just in the growth pattern And yeah, I just think that it is absolutely stunning, and I'm so happy that I have this one. So I highly recommend if you're able to track one down. I think that they're not like the most commonly available right now, but they are becoming more available. I've definitely seen them pop up at some plant shops. Mine is just in my DIY potting mix. Oh my gosh, and it's rooted like crazy. This has not even been potted up for super long yet, and it's like full of roots. Wow, it is a bit of a thirstier plant too, but this is in my DIY mix, so it's just in Pro Mix HP, some perlite, and is there even orchid bark in here? There might not be. Looks just like Pro Mix and vermiculite. This is in my begonia mix. Okay, never mind, I take that back. I think this is in my begonia mix, so it is in Pro Mix and vermiculite. And even in that denser mix, it still is a thirstier plant, so definitely likes to drink its water. There's these like dried out leaves on the top that I keep trying to pull off, but yeah, isn't she stunning? I love her so much. I think that this is such a fun one, so I had to start with this as my number one. You could even have these vines like creeping along. Like if you have something like my Millsville cabinet behind me that I put plants on, it'd be so cool if I had this like creeping along somewhere like that. Or like, yeah, I feel like there's lots of fun ways that you could style this, or like up a wall, or I don't know, it's just so cool. I really look forward to kind of experimenting with this more in the future, because I haven't had it for very long yet, so I haven't really grown it in many different ways, but yeah, I'm really excited about it. Okay, I guess I'm gonna tackle the one that is on the other side of me just to get these ones out of the way. So this one is my Begonia Rex Pavonina, and I recently featured this in my low light video, so if you've seen that one, then you would have seen this recently. So obviously it can be grown in low light since I featured it in that video. I'll talk about it briefly again. So this is a begonia that typically grows on the forest floor, very shaded by other taller plants around it, so it doesn't require a lot of light, and it also has a really cool iridescent feature to it that helps it to capture more light because it doesn't, you know, get a lot of sunlight, and that basically gives it a blue sheen. So this is so stunning under certain types of lighting. I will insert some footage on the screen, but it's just a fun plant because it can literally look blue. Sometimes in the evening I will just walk past it, and when the light catches it right, it's just like a flash of blue, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so freaking cool. So yeah, it's such a unique plant, and obviously it's in this video because it has really dark leaves. They're like a really deep like blue green, and honestly I think that this could even look darker. It's not its happiest right now. I think it's a little bit underwatered, so I'm gonna have to get on top of that. It also has like maroon backs, which a lot of these plants do feature maroon backs, or like have a maroon kind of tone to them. Also it's a begonia, so it can flower, which is really fun. I love flowering plants, so that is always a plus in my books, and it's just nice that you have flexibility of where you put this because it doesn't need to be right next to a window or right in front of a window. I just think that it's so pretty. This is another one that I actually haven't had for very long, but I'm already kind of obsessed with it, so I look forward to getting more experience with growing it and sharing updates with y'all over time. But yeah, I just had to mention it because it is dark and beautiful, and I think that it is a really fun pick. Okay, I'm actually gonna lower that one down now that we're done talking about it, just to create a little bit more space for myself here. Okay, so the next one that I'm gonna talk about is the Moody Queen herself, my Anthurium moodeanum, who I am especially in love with recently because she is on her comeback. I rotted this plant about a year ago now, maybe. It took a while for me to notice, and then I chopped all the roots off when I noticed that it was rotted, and I decided to propagate it in jumbo perlite, this like really chunky perlite that I have. Luckily it took really well to that and pushed out a ton of new healthy roots. So probably a couple of months ago now I potted it up. Actually, let's see if I can pull the pot out. It's just kind of fun to check in on the roots. Okay, I got her out. I had to do the hack where I cut 2 slits in the nursery pot so that this can get smaller to actually fit in the cover pot. But her roots are looking good. There's not a ton, which is great. The ones that I can see look super healthy, so that's why it's great, because I don't like constantly having to repot my anthuriums. But you can see she has cutie pink roots, which I love so much. So yeah, she's super happy and healthy now. But this is a plant that I thought I was gonna lose, and for a second I was kind of okay with it because I was just kind of frustrated. But then I remembered how beautiful this plant is, especially as it gets bigger. Mine isn't a very big specimen, but as this grows, it is just going to be absolutely incredible with these dark heart-shaped shiny leaves. It is just, oh my goodness, it is such a beautiful plant. So when the leaves come in, they're more of this red, they're like super shiny red. This is another new one over here, and this anthurium often puts out more than one new leaves at once, which is really fun. I find it to be a really vigorous grower when it's not suffering from root rot. But yeah, they come in more red, and then they harden off to this just like deep, like literally almost black, like dark foliage. I highly recommend this anthurium, y'all. And I think that it's easier. Like, I know I had this rot problem, but that was a me issue, okay? It was not her fault. I do think that this is a more hardy, easier going anthurium because it's not velvet, doesn't seem super sensitive like some of my, you know, really dark velvety types. It's just living in ambient humidity. It's just on my Vitjo shelf under Barina lights. And yeah, it's literally a dream. So I love the moodeanum. I think that there's a hybrid of this one called Queen of Hearts. I think that's a moodeanum hybrid, is it not? But that one is stunning as well. You get a lot of these like same traits from this one, the dark heart-shaped leaf. Yeah, I'm obsessed. So obviously she had to be in this video. I think that this is a fantastic dark plant. Okay, and the next one I have is a little tall, so how am I gonna do this? Okay, I boosted you up a touch, but the next plant that I wanted to mention, oh yeah, I'll take her out of her cover pot, is my philodendron gigas. I feel like she doesn't, well no, she does look dark. Especially this leaf, it's like so dark. I find that the philodendron gigas has almost like a blue kind of sheen or tone to it. It's just that dark. I had to feature, yeah, it like literally has a blue shift to it. It is so pretty. Mine has been on a bit of a journey, similar to the moodeanum, where I'm regrowing it out, so that's why it looks a little crazy right now. And there's some kind of old janky leaves that were from propagation down at the bottom here, but the new leaves that I'm getting on her are just a dream. Look at this one. This is the newest one, and I'm literally obsessed. It's huge. It's huge. I had to feature the philodendron gigas because it is what I would say it's the darkest velvet philodendron that I've grown. You know, I have some different hybrids. One of them I will mention because it's very dark as well, but definitely not on the same level as the gigas. Like, I just find this one super dark. When you think of dark velvety philodendrons, you think of like melanochrysum, and I find that to lean more dark green, whereas this one has kind of that like blue pull to it. And I feel like the cool tones in these plants, like when they pull purple or blue, is what makes them look really dark. So yeah, is that an overcomplicated way to talk about these plants looking dark? Maybe. Mine obviously is crazy. She needs a pole extension, but she is happy even though she is looking crazy. We have like tons of super healthy roots in the pole. Like, she loves to climb, and obviously she's sizing up like crazy, so it's on my list this week to extend her pole. But yeah, if you are looking for a dark velvety philodendron, this is my favorite one. Highly recommend growing it. I find it super easygoing once it gets going. Sometimes it can be a little tricky because I've propagated this now 2 or 3 times, and I think it's been a slow start every time, but then once it gets going, like, you'll start to see some of these beautiful leaves and it'll start to size up. Another really great thing about the gigas is that it has short petioles, so it stays really tight to the pole, which is one of my favorite features of climbing plants. Like, look how compact that is. I think that's something that people don't talk about enough. Like, it makes such a big difference when you have a climber with short petioles that stays pretty flat versus one that gets like long, super massive petioles. It takes up way more space. So yeah, I just think that this is such a good one, and I don't see enough people growing philodendron gigas, so yeah. Okay, the next plant that I have to talk about is probably going to come as no surprise to my regular viewers. It is my begonia Fannie moser. This is my favorite dark begonia. I would say this is my darkest begonia as well. Now, this is one that is growing back from cuttings and kind of getting reestablished, so she's certainly not her darkest. I'll insert footage of her before I chopped her up. She's doing really well, so she's definitely like coming back and pushing out new leaves and everything, so I'm sure that she's going to be back to her former darkness again soon. But I mean, she's still dark, even though she's not like as dark as she normally is. She normally is like almost black, and absolutely stunning. This is not only one of my favorite dark begonias, but this is just one of my favorite begonias in general. I think that it's so pretty. I cut this up because it had scale, yeah, which is really annoying. And I kind of wanted to grow it in pon anyways. It was previously growing in soil, so I've moved it to pon, and now it's in this self-watering planter, and it has just been a breeze to care for this now that it's in this planter. Yeah, I'm just super happy with this setup. Also is on this acrylic trellis, and I just kind of clip it onto there as it grows. And yeah, it's doing really well. And you know, she is getting darker every day. At least I like to hope. Yeah, but just a really beautiful, she's kind of dusty. My goodness, maybe I should have showered her off before this video. Oh my gosh, this new leaf is so cutie coming in. Look at that. Yeah, she's really stunning. She has the dark burgundy backs to her leaves as well, and she, I would assume, can flower because she's a begonia, but she has never flowered for me. Honestly, I would be so happy if she would. So if that could happen for me this year, that would be just amazing. Yeah, I'm a huge begonia fan, so this is one of my favorites just because of how dark she is and how well she grows. She is a very vigorous grower, and besides that weird scale issue, I haven't had any problems with her, so highly recommend that one. And then we have another one that I recently featured in my low light video, and I also just feel like I've been talking your ear off about this plant lately, especially if you're on my Patreon, because I also just showed this plant on there and was talking about it. But this is my ludisia discolor, or jewel orchid, and I just have to feature her quickly because her leaves are literally almost black. They have that purpley tone to them. She is such a just stunning, easygoing plant, can tolerate low light. She was featured in the low light video as well. And she has this just gorgeous, dark, velvety looking foliage. Like, she is so pretty. Look at that, the like pink stripes. I am seriously obsessed with her. I might experiment with actually propagating her soon, so I will update y'all if I do that. But yeah, I love this one so much. Super easy to take care of, and even though it is considered a jewel orchid, it's a terrestrial orchid, so you can basically take care of it the same as you do your other houseplants. It doesn't need to be in any special orchid mix or anything. And it flowers with stunning white flowers, which I love the contrast of the white flower with the super dark foliage. And she also flowers in winter. As you can see, I just removed most of her flowers because they were spent, but there is still this one, and she's pushing out another one down here that isn't open yet. But yeah, just such a cheerful plant to grow, especially in the winter time. And I feel like this one gives just like a really cool a really cool, dark, moody vibe, which is what we're trying to do with all of these plants, right? Okay, I do have a couple bigger ones to show you, so I'm gonna take you over to them now. Okay, try to get us all in frame here. So the first one that I want to talk to you about is my philodendron red Anderson, and I feel like this is one that some people wouldn't think about when you're thinking of like dark plants, because obviously it has like pink and white variegation, but the green on this plant gets so dark. It really gets that kind of like black cherry look. Like I've seen, you know, some cultivars of philodendron pink princess sold as black cherry, where the green is like almost black and then it has the pink. That is like kind of the vibe that philodendron red Anderson gives me. It's just, yeah, it's so pretty how dark it gets. And this is one where in my, oh my gosh, I did not see how variegated the new leaf is. That is so, this like must have just unfurled like within the last day. That is so stunning. I was just gonna say that I find this plant to be one of the plants that gets, as the leaves like harden off, they get prettier, whereas sometimes it's the fresh leaves that are prettier. I prefer when they've hardened off, because when they first come out, they're this kind of muddy color, but then they harden into just this beautiful dark, green with the variegation. So if you're looking for a dark variegated philodendron, honestly, check out the red Anderson. They're so much more affordable and available now. And this has been such a great plant for me. I got this one because I never had luck with growing the pink princess. So, but I still, you know, was wanting to try my hand or like have a plant in my collection that offered that pink variegation, or just variegation in general, like different shades of green and white and stuff. So I got this one and I've been so happy with it, and it's getting big now. Like I feel like I never hold this up and show you guys, but she's getting big. Like, that is Gorgina. I love her. Okay, and then next, another one that I won't linger on because we've all seen her a million times, unless you're new here, in which case, hi, hello. But this is my anthurium luxurians hybrid. Crystal Mag luxurians. Why can I've had this for years now, and it's one of my favorite plants, and I am always just blanking on the ID. But yeah, it's a super dark anthurium. It again has that kind of like blue, it almost has the kind of like oil spill look that some anthurium can get. And yeah, it's just like super cool toned, deep, dark foliage. And I had to mention it because it's just such a stunner and such an eye-catching plant that people always point out when they come in here, because it's just like these leaves are massive and so textured and so dark and just a dream. Like I love her so much. She's actually thirsty right now. I can tell because this pot is super light, and also she's putting out an inflow, which I would prefer a new leaf, but you do you, girl, I guess. Right here. I need to water her. She's been drinking a lot since it's been so sunny out. But yeah, a lot of anthurium can be really dark. Like I have a couple that I was going to mention in the honorable mentions kind of section, which I guess we will get into now. But yeah, this is probably my, well, it's not my darkest anthurium, but it's the one that holds its dark, has been holding its darkness the best. Does that make any sense? Because I'm going to talk about a couple of my other dark ones that sometimes don't look as dark. I feel like this one stays really dark. Like these are old leaves and they're still like that really deep blue toned kind of dark color. My first honorable mention, why does it look so extra light now? Of course. My first honorable mention is my anthurium Goliath forgetii hybrid. I actually am moving this out of the Millsbow greenhouse cabinet and just into my living room. So we're gonna see how that goes. This plant has the potential to be super, super dark. I'll put a photo on the screen of what it looked like when it was in a better state last year. But I repotted this and I don't know, I guess it just has taken a bit to adjust. This is a brand new leaf that's still hardening off. But since it's just, I don't know, it didn't have a great fall. And then I repotted it. Oh yeah, it dried out like crazy in October. Anyways, it's a whole thing. This plant, okay, it's looking a little better now. It's been on a whole journey and it's recovering is basically what I'm trying to say, which is why it's not looking its darkest right now, because I do just find that those leaves really lose their saturation when they're not in the best health, like I was saying at the beginning of the video. But I still had to mention it because it definitely has been like almost black, like a black green at times. And I just think that it's a really special anthurium. This is my favorite anthurium that I have received from Cartel Down. I have lots of their anthurium. Well, do I anymore? I mean, I have several of their anthuriums and I love them, but this one is my absolute favorite. So honorable mention for this one. Another honorable mention anthurium is my King of Spades. Now this one is actually pretty dark and it does tend to hold that. Maybe this shouldn't even be an honorable mention. Maybe this should be one of the main picks. I mean, either way, it's going to be featured in this video. It is a super dark, like almost black green kind of anthurium. Plus it has stunning veins, as you can see. It's a very like round anthurium. This is a very popular, beloved one, so I'm sure that many of you are familiar with it. Incredibly slow growing. It is like an event when this thing pushes out a new leaf. I transferred this from my IKEA greenhouse to room humidity last year and I waited such a long time for a new leaf. And then aphids attacked that new leaf, so I had to cut it off and wait again for another one. So this is what it's looking like now. It's healthy, it's gorgeous, and I'm super happy with it. But yeah, it's just a dark, velvety, heart-shaped anthurium. It's stunning. I love it so much. This is from Cartel Down too. Now I'm questioning which one is my favorite. I love them both so much. It's just gorgeous. But it looks like we actually have possibly a new leaf coming in soon. My fingers are crossed. Maybe in the spring it will bless me. But yeah, I love it. It's gorgeous and dark. Okay, I think this is going to be the last one that I'm going to mention for today. There's lots of plants in my collection that are like pretty dark, you know? It's just I'm trying to pick the ones that I think are the darkest. But this is my begonia thurstonii. Now the reason she's an honorable mention is because same story as a lot of them, she's growing back from propagations and she's just not her full saturated self yet. She will get there again, and now that I'm holding it, I'm like, okay, maybe this is my fault because she's like pretty bone dry and I did not know that. It's been really warm here lately in the house, so I think I was a little bit thrown off with my watering schedule. But this plant has grown. I've had this thing be huge before, and it has super dark, shiny, just beautiful leaves. It's a really stunning begonia. I highly recommend it. It's one of my favorite begonias. Again, we also have the like maroon colored backs, and I just think that this one is really unique, propagates easily, grows super easily as long as you keep it watered, which apparently I haven't been. But yeah, it's really stunning, and this is one that surprised me. I was not expecting to love it as much as I did when I got it, so I'm really excited that it's growing back. I literally chopped it to nothing, like it was just stumps. You can see I cut it to just like sticks like this, and then it pushed out new growth and even like little baby plantlets from the bottom, and now it's turning into a lush plant again, which is really exciting. So yeah, I can't wait to see this one be back in its full darkness again sometime soon. Yeah, it seems that when I back up, you get like the true darkness of them. When I'm up here, something about that like throws off. But yeah, look at her. Stunning. Filming this has made me realize that I don't have a ton of dark Hoya. So I would love to hear if you have a recommendation for a dark Hoya. Like I certainly have Hoya that have dark green leaves, but for something that gives like that like super dark, almost black look, I don't really think I have a Hoya like that. certainly not one that is looking like that right now, because some of my dark ones are looking a little pale right now. The Kaimuki is a really dark one, especially the new leaves come out like literally super deep purple and they stay pretty dark. I would say that that's probably my darkest one. I'm not going to grab it down because she's way up high in the window, but yeah, I would love to hear your picks. I hope that some of you out there also have a love for dark plants. This is a video that was a request that I had written down at the beginning of the year, so thank you so much to whoever submitted this idea. I've really been enjoying working through some of the requests and some of the video ideas that y'all gave me, so thank you so much for that. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this one. I hope that you enjoyed. Leave me a comment down below. I look forward to chatting with you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Try